No escape.
Ninja Gaiden 4 is being positioned as a dramatic and long-awaited revival of the legendary hack-and-slash action-adventure franchise, co-developed through a unique collaboration between PlatinumGames and Team Ninja, and published globally by Xbox Game Studios. The game is intended not merely as a continuation of the dormant series, but as a bold reinvention that reintroduces its brutal, high-skill combat to a new generation, while paying direct homage to the punishing intensity and technical precision that defined its earlier entries. Set in the aftermath of Ninja Gaiden 3, the story picks up years later and introduces a brand new lead character, Yakumo, a prodigious master ninja of the Raven clan who fights with a colder, more methodical style compared to the fierce ferocity of the returning series icon Ryu Hayabusa. Both Yakumo and Ryu are fully playable within the campaign, but their roles in the narrative differ significantly, with Yakumo serving as the primary lens through which the overarching tale is told, while Ryu represents the mythic weight of legacy, stepping back into the spotlight during pivotal chapters and major boss encounters. The setting amplifies the stakes to new heights by reimagining Tokyo not as the bustling metropolis of the modern day, but as a near-future dystopia ravaged by the sudden return of the Dark Dragon and its demonic horde. Once glittering neon districts are reduced to haunted husks, their skyscrapers overtaken by parasitic growths and sinister architecture twisted by demonic influence. Streets once filled with life are now submerged under perpetual rainfall, scattered with debris, and prowled by hybrid enemies that combine cybernetic enhancements with infernal mutations. This blend of cyberpunk atmosphere with supernatural horror creates a stark contrast, placing the grounded martial discipline of the ninja against an overwhelming tide of grotesque monstrosities, while also evoking the haunting sense that Tokyo itself has become a labyrinth of violence, corruption, and decay. The developers have described this atmosphere as one of inescapable oppression, where every shadow hides potential threats and even familiar environments feel dangerous and alien. Combat, the absolute heart of Ninja Gaiden 4, seeks to marry the meticulous, punishing systems of the franchise's roots with the spectacle-driven flair of PlatinumGames, resulting in a hybrid combat experience that is both technically demanding and visually stunning. Classic mechanics such as the Izuna drop, Flying Swallow, and precision-driven combos return, but are now expanded upon with entirely new systems that allow players to express creativity and tactical adaptability. The standout addition is Bloodbind Ninjutsu, a new mechanic that enables Yakumo and Ryu to transform their weapons mid-combo into dramatically different forms, shifting a katana into a segmented chain blade, or converting twin blades into a glaive-like polearm. This feature not only broadens the range of combo expression, but also introduces strategic layers, as certain enemy types are more vulnerable to specific transformations, rewarding experimentation and mastery. Another new system, Bloodraven Form, represents the fusion of lore and gameplay. As Yakumo channels the forbidden power of his clan's cursed heritage, he temporarily transforms into a raven-like spectral warrior whose speed, strength, and ferocity are unmatched. In this state, players gain access to exclusive moves and devastating area of effect techniques, though at the cost of rapidly draining a unique meter and exposing Yakumo to vulnerability once the form ends. This risk-reward approach echoes the series' hallmark philosophy of demanding precision and punishing recklessness, encouraging players to treat these transformations as clutch tools rather than constant crutches. Complementing this is the introduction of a parry system and slow-motion dodge timing, mechanics that emphasize reactivity and precise inputs. Successful parries stagger enemies and open them to brutal finishes, while perfect dodges slow time for a split second, giving players opportunities to reposition or counterattack in stylish ways. Crucially, the fan-requested ultimate guidance system makes a triumphant return, retaining its identity as a high-stakes mechanic that dramatically alters combat flow. By collecting glowing essence orbs released from slain enemies, players can either channel this energy into powerful ultimate attacks that unleash screen-filling destruction, or instead choose to consume the essence for immediate healing. The choice is deeply consequential, as hoarding essence for an explosive attack leaves players dangerously vulnerable in the short term, while using it to survive may weaken their long-term offensive capability in the tougher encounters ahead. This design reflects the series' philosophy of tactical brutality, where every decision carries meaningful consequences and survival depends as much on judgment as on raw skill. From a design philosophy perspective, the development team has made clear that Ninja Gaiden 4 is not intended as a Souls-like, despite its difficulty, but rather as a return to the fast, stylish, punishing action that made the franchise a legend in the first place. While the game retains its reputation for punishing challenge, it now offers scalable difficulty options, enhanced training modes, and accessible input assists designed to onboard newcomers without diluting the intensity that veterans demand. PlatinumGames' influence ensures that combat animations flow seamlessly with cinematic flair, while Team Ninja's legacy guarantees that every strike, dodge, and parry carries the crunch and weight of a blade meeting flesh and steel. The end result aims to strike a balance between accessibility and mastery, ensuring that Ninja Gaiden 4 feels both approachable for first-timers and brutally rewarding for long-time fans. Beyond the fast-paced combat that has always been the soul of the franchise, Ninja Gaiden 4 also places a renewed emphasis on world structure and environmental storytelling, carefully blending linear, high-intensity arenas with semi-open exploration segments. Rather than designing levels as narrow corridors of combat rooms, the developers have crafted sprawling urban districts of a corrupted near-future Tokyo, where skyscraper rooftops, abandoned subway tunnels, neon-lit market streets and derelict temples all intertwine to form interconnected battlegrounds. These areas encourage players to experiment with traversal systems, wall running, grappling hooks, pole vaulting, and fluid parkour chains, ensuring that the act of moving through the city feels as exhilarating as the combat itself. Certain traversal options even tie directly into combat, allowing players to leap down from walls for ambush finishes, swing into enemies with rope momentum, or use verticality to reposition in multi-wave encounters. Boss encounters are another major showcase of the game's design philosophy. Instead of relying on simple health bar sponges, Ninja Gaiden 4 builds each boss fight as a carefully choreographed duel of wits and reflexes. Some bosses are colossal demon beasts with layered phases, while others are human or human-like swordsmen, designed to push mastery of parrying, dodging, and stamina management to the absolute limit. These duels unfold like cinematic showdowns, complete with dialogue exchanges mid-fight that reveal character motivations and narrative twists, making each victory feel like a triumph not just of mechanics but of story progression. Encounters scale in intensity, beginning with